If you ask America's 47 million black citizens their feelings about the major issues affecting our nation, like rising crime rates and illegal immigration, you'll find that blacks are often on the conservative side of the debate. But you wouldn't know that from watching or listening to the mainstream media. The black community's overlooked conservative values are credited with the greater than expected black support for President Donald Trump. And it comes at the same time when liberal lawmakers, black pressure groups like the NAACP, and self-identified civil rights leaders like Al Sharpton have taken a sharp turn to the left. This is alienating many blacks with this sense of abandonment especially acute among people of faith. To analyze this political awakening among black Americans, we're joined by three panelists from Project 21, one of the nation's oldest and largest black conservative organizations. Joining me in studio, Derek Hawley, member of Project 21 and president of Reaching America. Horace Cooper, senior fellow and Project 21 co-chairman. And Donna Jackson, accountant and director of member development for Project 21. All right, let's start with election integrity. Many of the new radical ideas about elections, like no voter ID and same-day registration and mail-in voting, are done under the guise of helping black people. Do these liberal ideas actually help black people? Horace?
Well, absolutely they don't. In fact, they set back the cause of election integrity. Now, we're going to be putting together a series of recommendations in our blueprint. But one of the things that I think it would be useful for people to remember, earlier in January when the President of the United States went to Atlanta and made up all of these charges about who's a bigot, who's a racist, who is a segregationist, what he was saying is, I don't believe that black Americans are capable of getting an ID or capable of remembering what day the election season starts or participating in a way to go to their own election, to their own precinct. Our program is going to come out 100% in favor of voter ID. We flatly are concerned, we're very concerned, that the American people, particularly black Americans, have their votes counted.
Derek, what's your reaction to this whole voter race debate?
It's hypocrisy at its best. And two things I'd add. One, to get into this building, we had to show ID. To get a cell phone, you have to show ID. For anything in America right now, you have to show some type of identification. And the president going down to Georgia with this outrageous and outlandish speech that he gave, the thing about it is the voting laws that he claims that are so, as he called it, voting Jim Crow
2.0.
2.0. Right now, Georgia's laws are less restrictive than his own state of Delaware.
That's right.
And the thing about it is, and so it's outrageous what he's doing right now. And the thing about it is, again, it's just to pit divisiveness, keep people divided in this country on voting rights. And it's just outrageous right now what he's doing. And the thing about it is, November, this past November, midterm elections in Georgia, even with the new voting laws that are in place, the elections, people was up 17% in terms of the number of people who came out to vote. So it has not impacted the number of people who come out to vote. So it's outrageous to think that we cannot get an ID. It's a slap in the face.
Donna, what do you think about the idea that the Democrat Party, Joe Biden is certainly guilty of it, but the Democrat Party as a whole is using the black population to further the Democrat agenda when it knowingly hurts the black population, or at the very least is disrespectful?
Well, listen, they've always done this. You know, what you're seeing is white liberals telling black people what they need. Now, the thing that I would say is, why haven't they ever presented any quantitative information of the number of people that don't have an ID card right now? Right. They've never done this. They should be able to have statistical analysis that says that these number of people don't have ID cards, and not because of the inconvenience of them not wanting to get an ID card, but they can't get one. The other thing is, isn't it demeaning that they would think that let's make a law so that these individuals can vote without an ID card, but they can't participate in our economic system, not here in America or abroad. You cannot participate in any financial markets in this country without an ID card. You can't buy a home. You can't invest. You can't get a job. You can't get on an airplane. So it sounds so much when they're saying about having an ID card of white liberals sending buses to pick up their maids and housekeepers to come and clean their house. And then they can vote, and then they send them back to whatever drudgery life they live. If you really cared about African Americans, then you would want them to be able to participate in every
Absolutely.
capitalist market we have. But you can't do any of that without an ID card. So they don't care about the economic conditions of African Americans. They don't care about the wealth gap. They care about making sure they stay in power in the name of African Americans.
That's right.
Very interesting. We'll be right back. We've got to take a quick break, and then we will tackle environmental justice and critical race theory. We'll be right back.